You know what? I'm gonna start off this video saying totally fucking sucks. I spent the whole weekend filming, did a bunch of shit, took out the exhaust from my Jeep behind me, put it on Trevor's Jeep, started cutting off the motor mounts, and somehow Final Cut Pro deleted the whole event. Can't recover it. The only videos I could recover were the ones that are on my iPhone because they don't get deleted till after a month. So I'm just gonna recap some of the things that I've done. Holy fuck, boys. She's a frosty one out here in Alberta today. Fuck me. Gotta get underneath before my balls shrivel up and go into my asshole and get that exhaust off. We're gonna put it on Trevor's Jeep. Got the LS harness I did in the last video. Got her in a bag. Should be good in there. Really don't want to be laying on the cold cement. I'm gonna cut this flange off. Use a connector. I got the old pipe right there. We're just gonna lob a chunk of her off because it's the same size. That's the other one. Trevor's just underneath. Face shield on, safety first. Here's the back part. The cutting?
Shit out of me.
Yeah, it definitely worked.
Oh, you got me.
Just have to go put my other camera on the charger. Oh yeah, I got some beers for afterwards. Mount Begabee, Dal Timber Ale. Trevor's underneath there fighting with the exhaust hanger. How's that coming?
Yeah.
Getting her off?
Oh, fuck.
Better hurry up, the fog's coming. We're gonna be engulfed. Look at that fog. Holy fuck. Trevor's almost done. Fucking excited. Jeep won't sound like something coming fresh off the res. Nice and quiet. I shouldn't actually say that because today the reserves are actually fucking rich. All the oil and gas money in casinos. Guess you need your keys. Do you have them? Oh, I thought you left them at the front of the garage. See how this thing's gonna sound now. Banks Monster exhaust repurposed. Nice.
I can hear.
Yes.
Holy shit.
Sounds fucking good too.
Yes.
Hey, buddy. Well, it's another day outside in the garage. Got a bunch of beer cans kicking around. Gotta do some cleanup first. Trevor, after we finished doing the exhaust on Trevor's Jeep, drank a few beers and stuff's just been getting cluttered up. What I need to do is that the engine mounts need to be cut off the Jeep. So that's something that we gotta start working on. I got these connections from work because they're just going to throw them out and they're waterproof connections. And I thought they'd be perfect for doing some connections on the old Jeep when I start doing the swap. I think that'd be pretty handy. Just got to label them properly. Be a nice easy connection to disconnect on and off. All right, one of the things you got to watch out for when you're cutting the old motor mounts off is, try not to zip the brake line because then you'll be forced to build a new one. and it's quite long, but I guess you could just splice it too if you had to, but we're gonna try to avoid that situation like the damn plague. So I'm gonna use my weak as fuck cutoff tool here from Mac Tools. It's got the angle head on it. Was really good back in the day, but she's weak. So let's get started. So then came Sunday. Came out the garage on Sunday, and cutting off the motor mounts is quite the big job. I'm gonna tell you guys something right now though. If you're ever gonna cut off the motor mounts, plasma cutter is your best friend. Had to take the generator outside because the generator has a 20 amp plug, and this is 20 amp. I don't have 20 amp service on 110, so that's why I run the plasma cutter off of that and plasma cut it. And it's got one little section there I gotta finish grinding. That's why I came outside the garage, and plus to do some video footage. And then we're gonna talk about the transfer case. Before we go to the transfer case, we're gonna talk a little bit about the engine. I was originally gonna go with the 4L80 transmission because my 4.8 has the extended crank on it. So in order to adapt the 4L60 to this transmission, traditionally they'll have a dished flywheel, and then you have to get like an adapter spacing, all that other kind of bullshit. But for this particular setup, from what I've been told, that you could use a flywheel that's not dished, so a flat one, and you have to oblong the holes a little bit to make it fit. And I believe that's what you're gonna have to do. So I'm in the market right now shopping for a 4L60. The reason why I want to do a 4L60 is because I don't want to modify the harness I built anymore. And plus with the 4L60, because I got a 231 transfer case here, if I go to the junkyard and get a 231C transfer case, apparently if I take the back half and all the guts out and then just put the front cover from the Jeep and the yoke, I can make that fit and adapt it to the 4L60 transmission instead of spending $700 buying an output shaft for the transmission to adapt it and get someone to install it, because I really don't want to take apart the transmission. So if I could do that, go to the junkyard, get a donor for like, under $100, I think I'll be set. All that being said, it's already starting to get warm, so I'm gonna finish grinding off that. And I accidentally just nicked the brake line there, so I'm gonna have to replace it. But I'm not gonna replace the whole line because that'd just be silly. What I'm gonna do is probably split it somewhere along here and just connect it with a joiner. That'll be the best. But let's start grinding. This side's already off and done, and it's a lot of work, I'm telling you, it's a lot of work. In case anybody's wondering, the Milwaukee cordless grinder with the 9 amp hour battery lasts an extremely long time. I pretty much grinded all that off. I can't even remember the last time I charged this battery. It's been long before I fixed the welding on the pickup truck and the Jeep, so it wasn't even a full charge when I started. And once it gets down to the last light on the side here, that battery will go forever. There we are, all grinded off. Back in the day, I would film grinding because people like to see work done, but I've ruined so many camera lenses by grinding because, the sparks fly and they embed in the lens, and it's game over for the camera then. So that takes care of that. Might have an answer for transmission by the weekend, not sure. But if that being said, I could start by trying to clean up this firewall a little bit. Maybe do some painting or something. I'm pretty sure a lot of the wiring, I could probably pull it back and out of the way. I could probably start researching what I'm gonna need and what I'm gonna get, take it from there. Just like Christmas time, going over some parts that came in for the LS swap. There's the fuel kit right there. Some oddball bracket, I haven't figured out what it's for yet. Evap delete, hose for the brake, little adapter to hook up for the oil pressure, for the transmission shifter, and of course the most important thing, the motor mounts right in the bottom. Tomcats, why do you feel you need to be on the table? You're not supposed to be on it. Ever since I came back from vacation, You think that you're allowed on the table as you're making some sort of protest, I think, because your human was gone. And you know I'm filming you. That's why you're trying not to look into the camera. But everybody can see you, Tomcats. What are you doing? You're such a bad kitty. Are you a good kitty? Are you? We're at the wrecker. We got a Ford Explorer here. D2 axle. 410 limited slip. Got some limited tools here, but could not get the drive shaft bolts off. Need a number 12 point socket. And then I didn't bring a hacksaw to get the brake lines off, so we're fucked. That would have been a good score. What do you think?
Would have been a good score.
Maybe next weekend if it's still here. Do you want a brush? Do you want a brush, Mr. Tomcats? We're at the junkyard, Tomcats, and we failed. We failed, Tomcats. We tried to get a differential, and we didn't have all the tools to get it, so we had to abandon the mission. And then we tried to find a transfer case and could not find the one we needed. Tomcat, what would you do in my situation? What would you do? Besides just roll around and get your belly brushed. Hey? Is that what you do? You just roll around, get your belly brushed? I know, big sucky. Hey, buddy. Guess it's time to put the tools away. What is he doing? What are you doing? You're being a weirdo. I don't know what the odds are of that rear end being back there next week, and I probably could just went back there today, came home and got what I needed. But Trevor had things to do, his dog's sick. But I need a 12 mil, 12 point. I need to see if I have one in here. All right, just went through the whole drawer of sockets, in case anybody's wondering why there's so many stray sockets in there. Over the years, you collect them. Sometimes you need to buy one socket and you gotta buy a whole set. A lot of them are just duplicates of what's already up there in that mess. A couple tools, pliers, an Articat, clutch removal off sleds. I think this is a bolt off one clutch. Anyways, these are all my 12 points right here, and I got lucky in the back. We got 12 millimeter. Maybe next weekend I'll head her back there. We'll see. Like to snag that axle though. Still torn on the transmission. What I'm going to use for this is gonna believe this is a 99 to 2000 4.8. It's got the extended crank like I talked about before. Would have came with a manual flywheel. Now was gonna go with a 4L80 transmission, which means I'd need a flex plate that was flat, commonly on the 4.8 and 6.0s, and then the 4L80 would just bolt up. However, the modern 4L80s don't have the speed reluctor ring in the back, so that would have to get installed, and also the output shaft would have to get installed, which means if you take apart the transmission, and then was gonna go with a 4L60, and could go with a flat flex plate on that, along the holes. Might have to get a different torque converter. And then I was hunting around for a 231C transfer case, commonly out of an S10 with a manual shifter. But I'd need the adapter snout as well. Didn't find any of those in the wrecker, which means I'd be able to go that route and then bolt it up. So I don't know which is the greater evil. Not sure how this is going to play out yet. Still got to figure that out. That being said, I'm going to call this video defeated because last weekend shot all that video footage, lost 90% of the footage besides what I had on my cell phone. Tried to look for a transfer case but found 8.8 with 410 gears limited slip. Didn't have the proper tools to get it out. Abandoned it, so if someone else grabs it before me, there's only the 4 bolts in the drive shaft and brake lines, and you can pull that sucker out. So it is what it is, unfortunately. Next weekend, maybe. Take our chances. If not, there was a 373 limited slip in there, so I don't fucking know at this point. Anyways, motherfucking beer time. Pilsner. Not really a big fan of wanting to take a transmission apart, but might have to go that route. Fuck. I'm gonna see if I can find a 4L80 rebuild manual or something online. Perhaps that might be the easiest way to do it. Call it a day. There's so many things. I still would have to modify the harness for the 4L80. It's already set up for the 4L60, but then there's the flex plate issue, torque converter. People built spacers. Some people got it to work. I don't fucking know. Anyways, I'm gonna end the video here. If you guys have any questions or comments, post them below. Otherwise, we see my breath in the garage. That's how cold it's getting. I'll talk to you guys in the next video. Might go get that axle. Never know.